All praise is due to Allah, who has united the hearts of the believer in Islam and has made it an obligation to remain united and has made it forbidden to become separated in his clear book. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, who guides to the straight path whom he wills, and I bear witness that our leader Muhammad is his messenger and the best caller to the way that is straight. O Allah, send your prayers and your peace upon our leader Muhammad and upon his family and upon his companions, whose hearts were united and whose souls were educated, so that they became victorious leaders. And what follows thereafter, O believers of Allah, I advise you as well as I advise myself to first have the proper regard for Allah and thereafter be obedient to him. Dear believers, I greet you with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be with you. This week we are looking at the attribute of Al-Wāḥid, Al-Wāḥid, which means the one. And this word wahada, the root word, is the same root word for the term that we are familiar with called tawḥīd, which means oneness and refers to the oneness of God, the oneness of Allah. And similar to the term wahid or al-wahid, there is al-ahad, which means also the one. However, ahad is more of a comparison as opposed to wahid, which speaks of the oneness of the entity of Allah itself. Ahad is stating that there is not more than one God, that there is only one God who is Allah. We can see that in the Surah Ikhlas. But wahid means the oneness of Allah, meaning that Allah is not a separate entity. They are not separate portions or parts of Allah, that Allah is one into himself. So this is a very sensitive discussion, and also must be addressed and dealt with a certain sensitivity in mind, not to be antagonistic, not to be pejorative, not to speak ill of others' faiths, but to acknowledge and state what it is that we know and accept of our own belief system. And so Al-Wāḥid, meaning the one, discusses how Allah cannot be subdivided. And as we look in the different writings of the scholars, they talk about how if Allah was divided, then one would be dependent upon one portion, will be dependent upon another portion, and there would not be this oneness, there will not be this wholeness, this perfectness to our Creator. And often in the Qur'an, we'll see verses that end referring to Allah as the strong one or the capable one. There's an adjective that's usually added to Allah being the one. It's still referencing Allah in his individuality, but it tells another aspect or relates another perspective or an addition to Allah being the one. Not that one portion of Allah is this or another portion of Allah is that, but this one singular entity of our Creator has all these other characteristics or capabilities. And we know that even our understanding of Allah's capabilities, the terminology that we use is only for our own personal reference. But Allah is Al-Wāḥid. And as we think about this idea of the oneness of Allah, tawḥīd, we think of even in the Shahada, when we state that there is no God except Allah, there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah. This concept is in between or addresses both wahid and ahad, but for the aspect that we're looking at as far as wahid, meaning that that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, meaning that Allah is the only Allah. There are not portions of the Creator. It is the one who created. Allah is the one who created. There wasn't assistance. There wasn't something else that helped in the design. It's the oneness of Allah. And as I stated, this is a topic or a discussion that requires a certain level of sensitivity for those that may view God a certain way. And in our discussion and in our talks with others, it is recommended that we acknowledge those sensitivities, and we do our best to not communicate our beliefs in a way that is off-putting and distracts from what it is that we want to communicate. أقول هذا أستغفر لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. So why is this beneficial to me? Why is it beneficial for me that Allah is one? That Allah does not have is not a multiple. There's one God. There is one Creator. Now, if we look at this aspect of Ahad and this comparative idea of where there's nothing else worthy of worship, where there are other things that others may view as God, and understanding that there is one and we're not associating partners with our Creator. But once we have gotten to the fact that there is only one God, that this one God does not have different aspects that I must worship, but there's not different parts of this created that I must worship. And the benefit for me is that my Creator makes it easy. That whatever it is specifically that I desire, whatever it is specifically that I am calling on my Creator for, I do not have to turn that request. I do not have to turn that need of mine to a particular aspect of this one God. There's not the love side. There's not a portion of Allah separate that I have to pray to for love. There's not a certain portion of Allah that I have to pray to for forgiveness. There's not a certain portion of Allah that I have to pray to for strength, that I have to pay to for healing, that I have to pay to for good fortune. This is the benefit of understanding the oneness, Al-Wāḥid of Allah, that Allah is one, that I just have to turn to my Creator, this one Creator, who we've been discussing his 99 attributes, who is the most merciful, who is the most forgiving, who is the kind, who is the loving, who is the perceiver, who is all these things, this one Allah, this one Creator that I can take any pain, any suffering, any desire for myself, desire for my family, my friends, my country. I can take any desire that I have and I can pray to this one Creator. And I don't have to be concerned of, did I pray to the right one? Or did the right one hear me? Or was my message, will it get to this aspect of Allah? Dear believers, we have to be appreciative, even in the little things. And it's a little thing or a detail that isn't a detail unless we make it one, unless we really begin to step out of our logical way of thinking. that this Allah, this one creator, this one who created everything, this one who gave me the religion, accepted me for this religion, gave me a proper way to worship, a proper way to pray with the desire to achieve paradise. This one creator is not some multiple that I have to turn certain aspects of my life to. And maybe if it was multiple, the same way that we sometimes neglect this one creator's commands, this one creator's desires, this one creator's things that he wants for us to do in our life. We're not doing this to multiple. We're not doing this to multiple aspects of our creator. Allah is one. He is Al-Wāḥid. He is indivisible. He cannot be divided into other parts. He cannot be divided into other aspects. He is everything that we need. He is capable of fulfilling every need and desire, everything that our hearts and our lives require for us to be successful. This one creator, Al-Wāḥid, is able to fulfill that. And it is a mercy, and it is a blessing that we don't have to turn to different aspects or different ideas of our creator, that he is one, that he is Wāḥid, he is the one God. So separate from that idea of Al-Aḥad, the one, when we're trying to get down to a singular, while we're looking at multiples, but we're saying this is the one. Say he is Allah, the one and only. Discussing that this is the one God in comparison to what others may view as God. Wāḥid is looking at that Allah, that aspect of Allah that we have found to be true in the understanding of Al-Aḥad. Now we are looking at the fact that one God is not able to be subdivided, because he is one, and that is the oneness of Allah, the elevating past Ahad of Wāḥid, that now that I have acknowledged that Allah is one, that Allah is the eternal, the absolute, now that this one God cannot be separate, cannot be broken down into other parts. So again, I end this by saying that as we discuss these ideas, as we discuss our religion, and that the Qur'an tells us to do things in the best of ways. So be sensitive to others' concerns, to others' beliefs, to others' understandings, and even to your own understanding. And let's do our best to communicate when we have to communicate what it is that we do and who it is that we are, that we're doing those things, thinking of others and thinking of how our Prophet, peace be upon him, and peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, would communicate those things. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين الحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.